Hello, everybody. It's your host, the Bandit of Model Railroad Talk. In this episode, we take this bag of parts, okay, and we turn it into one of these working knuckle couplers. So stick around, and we'll get the show on the tracks. So here we are, starting. I don't know what video this is. What number? I should say video number. So yeah, what I showed you, we're going to start out and talk a little bit about it. So last time I was into model railroading, like we've discussed, about 12 years ago, I was in the process of slowly converting my rail car, basically my fleet, over to Sargent Engineering couplers. And if any of you have looked into it, Sargent Engineering is the best way I can describe it, at least at that time, was it is the next. So you have KD couplers. Nothing wrong with KD couplers. I love KD couplers. I run the number 58s, the scale couplers currently. But I know down the road that I'm going to be going for that extra detail. And these are a lot of times I heard the Sargent Engineering couplers referred to as Proto 87. And if you don't know what Proto 87 is, look it up. It's take the NMRA requirements and stuff and go one step further. The Proto 87 guys, they do fabulous, magnificent jobs making locomotives, taking it down to the finest detail. And a lot of them, I know at that time, a lot of them were going with the Sargent Engineering couplers. Well, lo and behold, here we are, 2023. I'm getting back into it, and I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to start out. Nothing against KD. Love KD couplers. Don't get me wrong. In fact, if you're getting into the hobby, I would just stick with KD couplers, whether you want number 5s or the 58s. Look on their website. They'll be able to, you'll see the difference. But I knew that I wanted to eventually get my locomotives, rail cars. I wanted to, I strive for that level of detail. So I started looking. Lo and behold, I don't remember when, but Sargent Engineering went out of business. So I only looked for Sargent Engineering, okay? I didn't look for anything else. And once I got past that point, or first seen Sargent Engineering is no longer, I kind of gave up my search. I'm like, crap, that sucks. I looked on eBay. There were a few people selling them on eBay. And I'm like, no, I need a reliable source of them. So it wasn't until probably a couple weeks ago, I was doing some research like I always do for both the audio and you guys here for the podcast. Plus, I've made the decision to go into G-Scale. I'm going to start a G-Scale outdoor railroad, not really a railroad. It's going to be more of a display out front of our house for next year. And I'm sitting there looking, and I don't know how it popped up, but when I was looking for that, this company popped up called Prototype Couplers. And I'm like, oh, well, those look like Sargent Engineering, you know? And I'm like, you know, you kind of like, well, yeah, is it really Sargent Engineering and stuff? So I kind of moved along. A couple days later, I'm like, okay, you know what? It popped up again. I'm like, you know what? Let's just check them out. Let's give them a benefit of the doubt. Here at this podcast, you know, we don't cut down the little guy. I mean, or the person trying to start out or build, you know, I mean, so let's check them out. So I went on their website and looked around and started doing some reading. Well, the person that started or got this prototype couplers going, actually had connections with, I don't remember Sargent Engineering's owner's name, but had connections with them, had discussions with them, and basically, long story short, this is Sargent Engineering tooling. Like, all right, hey, we're in business. So I'm like, you know what? two things. Let's see if they're going to turn out like I like. And number two, let's if they do, I like them. Let's see how close they are to Sargent Engineering. So I researched, looked through, and they have different, different couplers. I found that I needed the E-shelf couplers, and the only I want to say problem, but is they come like this in a kit. Okay. Sargent Engineering, I don't remember if you could buy them. I think you could buy them in a kit, and then they had a jig and everything. But you could also buy them made, spend an extra $1, I think it was roughly, if I remember correctly, $1, $1.50 per coupler, and they would come to you colored and, or I should say painted and built. So this company doesn't offer that. They do, but it's via a route of obviously a connection that the owner of Prototype Couplers has, that you can, and I don't remember the pricing. You will have to check out the website. But after you make your purchase, you send an email to or I should say before you make your purchase, you send an email to them letting them know what you're wanting. And basically you can have them painted, built. There's one other option. I don't remember, or I should say built, then painted. But you need to let them know, because after you make your purchase, they ship them out to you. But if you want them built and all that good stuff, they will ship them to this other connection they have. They will build them, paint them, so on and so forth, and then that person will ship them to you. So to start out, it is $15 for 6 pair. Honestly, not that bad of a price. I shouldn't say 6 pair, 6 couplers. Okay, that's 3 pair. That's 3 cars. $15 really isn't bad. I mean, yeah, $5 a car. But let's face it, the KDs, with the list price on KDs, you're looking at $6 to $7 for 2 cars. So yeah, while they're maybe $1 to $2 more per car, the realism of them is just completely awesome. So if some of you don't know about these, for starters, forgive me, I am trying to get my camera to work with you, to zoom in on it. And let me see if that helps. Come on, camera. My fingers are in the way. So here I've got, I don't know if it'll zoom in even with my tweezers. My hands are getting in the way. These are, so they well, first of all, look like a real coupler. Okay. So for starters, they actually operate like a real coupler as well. So there we go. If I can get it to work. So and I apologize, my camera, I'm working on getting camera. So that's with the knuckle in the open position. Okay. Now, it actually closes. And then once it closes, it locks just like a real life coupler. But once you lock it, how do you open it? Take a magnet, put it over the top. Now it's unlike a KD where it's got this spring that has, and you have the trip pin. This, there's actually a little ball bearing that goes in here, and you put a magnet over it, lifts that ball bearing, and when you pull your train apart, it opens up. Guess what? Just like the real ones. Like I said, was ecstatic when these came in. So for starters, very fast shipping. Prototype couplers, well done. On our scale of 0 to 6, definitely a freaking 10 for shipping. Did not take them very long to get here. My first batch actually took slightly longer, but that was UPS or the Postal Service's fault, not them. So that doesn't count against you guys. I ordered another pack of the six of these last night. Plus I ordered some lower shelf couplers as well last night, because I want to get some of those in and see how those go, how those are. They're already shipped to me. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to set up the camera. I'm going to start building one, and I'm going to show you exactly how they're built. You think, oh, they're small, and I'm going to show you the parts. Yes, it looks scary. It's more scary than what you realize. As long as you got a set, like I got readers. See, I look like what's his name from Trailer Park Boys. As long as you got readers, magnifying glasses, and you've got a tweezers, you've got a set of small metal files, and you've got super glue, or not super, well, CA glue, but you need the thick, medium to thick viscosity, not the thin stuff. You can do this. They do have, for $5, they have a jig. I went ahead and purchased the jig because I'm like, for $5, they are, and then the jig is very well done. Well done, guys. So 0 out of 6. There again, a 10 on your jig. I've already built, obviously, one. Went together real well. Easy to work with. So we're going to move the camera here so you can see what I'm doing here on my little mat. And yes, let's get it. Let's get one built together. All right, folks. So forgive me for these little stand things. This is the stand. This is the setup I've got right now. I am trying to work on getting a better setup for video, but you know what? It takes time, folks. It takes time. So anyways, and with you, and by the way, with your support, we can get her done. So this is, we'll start out here. This is, if you look right here, this is the coupler inside the jig. This is a completed coupler. I have filed this all down. About the only thing I need to do now is get this completed one installed and on a car, and I need to get the rest of them built, but I need to get it painted, I should say, first. And then once it's painted, I need to get basically some graphite in there for the workings, and then installed on a car so I can work it. These couplers do need to be worked in, which if you do any kind of operation, regular operation, they will work in, but just know the Sargent Engineering ones from years ago did the same thing. Sometimes they won't quite clip or whatever. That comes with usage. And I'm pretty sure the real couplers do the same thing. So to start out, actually what I'm going to do is put on my trusty C things. And by the way, this is what comes in the package, okay? They have online, they have, well, let's flip it so you can actually see it. Well, that's the best way. They do have instructions that you can print off online. Very, very good instructions. While the instructions are not that extensive, and I don't say that in a bad way, by no means. They are, for being limited on their info, they are very good instructions. So to start out, we have 3 different pieces here. You've got your main coupler here, the arm, you've got the knuckle, and then right here, this is the more or less the bottom of the, I'm sorry about that. This piece here is the bottom of the, sorry about that, my printer's doing some weird stuff. The bottom of the knuckle, which bottom of the coupler, which holds the knuckle in. So, and as it says in the instructions, there is some filing to do. I actually emailed with the owner of this fabulous company today. Was asking actually asking them about if they offered like bulk discount, because after me building the one and the ease of building it, I'm very impressed with it, and I want to convert my railroad over immediately. just because I want to be ahead of the game. And unfortunately, they don't. The gentleman said, you know, right now he doesn't offer that. He'd like to, but it sounds like it's a 1-man, maybe 2-man production over there, and I believe they're out of Vermont. And so I completely understand, but his plans are to do that down the road. So getting back to the coupler here, there is some filing to do. So as you can see on the, well, as you may see on the back here, there is, because these are all castings. Now I chose to go, they have 2 different ones on there. They've got, let me actually turn over to my computer here. I'm going to get that going, get my monitor turned on here. And they have 2 different, it's, from what I could tell, it looks like the same coupler. It's just one is, will take a little more work on your part or our part as end users. So what I'm going to do is go on to, and their website is, while simple, but it's easy to use. It's not real complicated, which is prototypecouplers.com, by the way. So they have what's called die-cast couplers, hybrid couplers, and investment couplers. The die-cast couplers are, if you are basically the original Sargent style couplers. The investment ones are the same thing, but they have a description of what they are. And these are, the die-cast couplers are $5 more, or $5 more per pack. So they're $20 for 6 couplers, where the investment is $15. But the investment, as it states, it does take a little bit work on our end. So a little more work. Now, both of them, you do have to build them, unless, like we stated, you go through their process and have their connection build them for you and paint them and all that. So, but if you're a do-it-yourselfer, and you don't mind doing this little bit of filing, following instructions, then this is the way to go if you want to save a few bucks. And like I did, I took that $5 that I saved and actually bought the jig. The jig does make a world of difference, folks. While they recommend it, me looking at it, I'm like, I am so glad that I got the jig. I don't know how I would have built it. I think not having the jig will make it harder, and it will frustrate you. So this $5 jig, my dear followers, is definitely worth the money. Please don't judge them based on, if you decide that you're going to go with them and you decide you're going to build them without the jig, don't blame them. They give you the tools, and for $5, if you've decided that you are going to go this route, which it's not, while these are more expensive than KD couplers, they are a more prototypical, it's basically that extra, that last step that you can go. But yeah, don't blame them if you, unfortunately, if you decide that nope, I'm not gonna, I just want to do this or this, I'm going to try it without, you reap what you sow. Not trying to be negative, but, there again, it's not the company's fault when they offer you the tools to do it. So they also send you, and I added some more toothpicks in here, but they send you, the kit I got has 3 toothpicks. And what they want you to do, if you see this little hole right here, you basically take not that hole, it's the hole where the bearing goes. You take this, and they want you to go in there and burnish it. Basically what you're doing is, and forgive me folks, I'm Yes, I can't think and breathe at the same time sometimes. So they want you to get in there and basically burnishing it. You're knocking down anything since you can't really get a file in there. This just kind of cleans it up, smooths up the surface. Okay, now here's where the tricky part comes in. So I'm going to show you this. So if you look, this is a 0.5 gel pen, right? And there's the tip of it. Get my finger out there so you can, if it'll zoom in, you can see the tip. This is where people will get frustrated. If you get this kit, be very, very careful. Don't just start ripping stuff apart. You will get frustrated, but I'm going to show you real quick. Bear with me. This is really the hardest part about this. Oh, I lost it. Granted, it is. So, oh, there it went. It rolled right there. So if you can see that right there, I'm going to use my tweezers to show you. That right there, okay, compared to a 0.5 tip of a pen, that is the bearing that goes in that spot. That is the bearing that when you have your coupler upright and it's locked, that bearing falls into place. In a sense, that bearing goes from here, like say you have the magnet on it, lifts it up, and that's where it's open. And then as soon as you go like this, that bearing drops down and locks it in place. So that is the toughest part. So they do send it to you in a baggie, but they're very small. So I would suggest having a decent pair of tweezers that, and this may sound weird, but that you trust and that you trust yourself with, folks, because it can not turn out well for you if you're using stuff that you don't trust, or that you, like, say you just got some new equipment or tweezers that, you know, that you haven't used. Use a pair that you know. So we drop the knuckle in here, and I'll show you here if it'll let me zoom in. Right here, there's actually and I apologize, I'm doing this on my phone until I get a video camera. There's actually a little notch that goes there. There's also a notch in, this should be the one that I got ready. I hope one of these is. I got it mixed up. Nope, that's not it. Yep, that's the one I got ready. There's actually a notch in here too that holds that little knuckle. There's also a pin here that, if you look right here, what's in here? So there was the hole that was right there for the bearing, that the bearing's sitting, and then there's this little notch here. That is where there's like a little pin right there that goes in and holds everything in place. So, and this is where the delicate part comes in. You can't just ramrod it, set it in. You have to very, very carefully. And what I do is I come up here and I look to verify that the knuckle is sitting in the cradle, if you will. All right. We are on the next step. So we're using this. I personally like this Gorilla Glue. It does not take a whole lot. What I'm going to be using is a micro brush to do this. So what I do is I squirt a little bit out, and the instructions show you exactly where to place this. You don't need a whole lot. But you also have to be careful, because CA glue is a gap filler and it's sandable. So if you put it in the wrong spot, you're going to have some filing to do. And so reason why I want to use a micro brush like I do is because I want to get it. I get it pushed in. There is where the bottom part of the piece, I don't know exactly what you call it, that holds the knuckle goes in. There is actually a slight gap in a couple different places. I don't know if you can see that right here where I'm at, but I'm using a micro brush to kind of work it down in there. If I get some up here, I don't care, because I just don't get it glued down onto your jig. But what I do is I'll take, and I'm going to get a little more here, and that should be enough. But I get it in there, and I apologize if this isn't zooming properly or focusing, but I get it on the side. I want to get it worked in there, and I want to get it worked in there, because when it's all said and done, like the one I showed you before I paint it, I will go back and then we go in here. Set my micro brush down, and we go in here and we figure out why that one is not operating right. It should, because it's upside down. Maybe it is, and it's just because I'm blind, I can't see it. There we go. Now, flip it over. Now, unfortunately, this one seems to be, I have to do some filing. I see that now. And manipulation, because clearly the bearing, there we go, the bearing is not sitting down all the way like it should. Oh, that's why, because it's up a little. I did not get it all the way down. So let me go grab a tool and I'll be right back. Okay, so I never claimed to be an expert on these. I do know, however, the only one I've built so far is this first one I showed you. And I feel that the first one I built worked out good. Yeah, there we go. So I haven't even really tested them yet. That's why I wanted to get on here and do a video to show you guys how I build them, and the process, to show you the ease of building them. They're not hard. I don't want you guys, if you guys think, oh, I want to look into doing this, I don't want you guys to be scared about them. They're really not that hard. You're going to have flub ups, let's face it. And I will give this company absolute credit for what they are doing with this. Very, very, very impressed with it. I have to commend the owners of Prototype Couplers for taking on the big risk, both financially and well, let's face it, stress of, hey, is this going to work? Is this going to be worth doing this? Or, let's face it, people put their hard-earned money into this, some of these businesses, and sometimes stuff works out, sometimes it doesn't. So I will be doing another video at some point down the road of these, after I get them all done and painted. Shouldn't be that far down the road. I've got a few other videos I got to get done first, and we'll get them done and get you guys videos of what it. We'll get you videos. Sorry, I'm still learning this whole thing. we'll get you videos of what they look like after they're painted and lubed and all that stuff in on-rail cars. But I just want to jump on here and show you these. If you happen to have seen them and you haven't tried them out or thought, well, they're really not that bad to do. I know the first time I seen them, I'm like, heck no, I'm not going to try building something like that. You think of a coupler, HO scale, it's small. They're not that bad. They really aren't. The biggest issue, the biggest thing I would suggest is make sure you have good glasses that you can see, or magnifiers. Have some good files. Make sure you do your filing ahead of time, and don't overfile, because you can ruin certain parts, but get it all filed and cleaned up. And there's actually some filing afterwards, not much. The filing afterward is, and I don't even know if I get the camera to show it, but like on the knuckle, there's a casting line on the knuckle, the little part that goes in. And that filing, I just basically took my file and lightly went over, and it went away. So the next video on prototype couplers will be once they're on cars. And actually, I've got the shelf couplers coming in, so I'm going to get a video on those too. So I'm going to get all those built, and we will do another video down the road. Thanks for watching. Look us up on iTunes, Spotify, your favorite podcast listening device, app program, Model Railroad Talk. Look us up on, if you like this, subscribe. First of all, on YouTube here, subscribe. Then if you can see, look us up on TikTok. We're on there as well. You can reach out to us, modelrailroadtalk@gmail.com. You can give us a phone call at 563-293-6530. That's 563-293-6530. That is a message only, or I should say voicemail and text message only. We can receive them. We do not call out on it unless you want us to reach out to you. Our website, www.modelrailroadtalk.com. We've got forums on there. We got group pages, blog. Or if you like what you're seeing and you think you'd like to help support us by becoming a premium supporter, go on over to patreon.com/Model Railroad Talk. You can sign up there, become a premium supporter. Your funds help not only upgrade audio and video equipment, but it also allows us to, these I purchased with my own funds, none of the Model Railroad Talk funds, but it helps us purchase things for you to be able to see on here for reviews and eventually get giveaways and stuff like that. So thank you for watching, and until the next episode, keep your train on the tracks.